Well, good morning from Wyoming. This is the Cactus Atlas and this is Glenn. And today we're going to be exploring a little bit of Grand Teton National Park. And this is the morning of my first full day here in the Tetons. And things are already not starting off according to the weather forecast, as you can probably see, understanding that it's supposed to be just straight up sunny today. So I'm gonna be here a total of 2 days, camping tonight and tomorrow night in one of the national park campgrounds, and just decided to shack up here at the Flat Creek Inn last night, since I had to drive all the way up here from Phoenix. Did it over a 2-day stint. And this place claims that it's the closest lodging to the park, and I would concur. They also told me there's free coffee in here. And you all should know my policy on that by now. All right, bye Flat Creek Inn. What I'd say about this place is I'd stay here again for the money. I don't really have any complaints other than they have ginormous coffees, which is usually not the case at inns and hotels. They usually are skimpy, so huge bonus. But the stuff was blazing hot and they don't have any sleeves for the cups. And I know I sound like a wimp, but that stuff is burning hot. But if that's my worst complaint for everything, that's not too bad. And I just reconsulted the forecast. Mostly sunny is today, and the conditions right now apparently are sunny with a few clouds, a little partly cloudy. You guys tell me, but I do think I see a sliver of blue sky, so maybe the difference between where Grand Teton National Park is in this area, just only 15 minutes from the southern entrance. You wouldn't think it would make that big of a difference, but maybe it does around these parts. And here we are at the Grand Teton sign. Gotta get a selfie really quick, I'd say. If you wanna come visit the Grand Teton sign, get here early, although it's 9 in the morning now, which for me is late. But I can kind of give you a weather report, so I think my delaying was a wise choice, because you cannot see the Tetons. You can start to see the Tetons from here. It just goes to show you that no amount of planning or obsessing over the weather forecasts makes a difference every time. It's just the way life is. Maybe it's nature's way of preparing for a big reveal for you guys. Because I imagine those mountains would look really pretty with some clouds kissing the tops of them, but not quite what I had in mind for this morning by a long shot. And there's the Gros Ventre River. Don't criticize me for the pronunciation. I do have French heritage, and that is not correct. Like a lot of French names in American. But I think Gros Ventre is the way the Americans say it. It means big belly in French. It probably is pronounced Gros Ventre or something like that. Wow. I mean, within minutes. Like, I'm looking forward, I'm not looking behind me where all the clouds are. It's a different place. A completely different place.
Turn right onto Antelope Flats Road.
So Antelope Flats Road is what we want to get to Mormon Row. Historic section of this park. Was toying around with an idea of doing...
Continue on Antelope Flats Road for 1.5 miles.
Something on the historic sites of this this area. And this one really fits the bill, but very well known for beautiful morning photography with the mountains in the background. And I still think we're okay. It's not midday yet, but certainly past its prime. But look at all these yellow wildflowers here. Absolutely beautiful. Oh, I guess there's more to roam around here than I was kind of thinking. We'll have to find the optimal
Turn
viewing
right onto Antelope Flats Road, Gros Ventre Road.
You know, I don't know why I have her talking at this point. I really don't need her. Am I gonna find a parking spot in here though? Oh yeah, there's plenty. It's not that crowded. It is 4th of July weekend, if I didn't mention that. I was very hesitant to book a trip to a place like this now, but what are you gonna do? And here we are at the Mormon Row Historic District. Actually, I think the famous farmhouse is down the road a ways, but apparently we can roam here and get a sense for what it would have been like to be a homesteader out in this area in the early 1900s to the 1950s, I hear. I couldn't tell you. I didn't get any information to say what was built when. This was apparently a very large community, and a lot of what's left is just scratching the surface of what was once in this general area. But once the Park Service wanted in, that was kind of the end of this. And actually there is one of the what I think is one of the maybe famous looking structures. I forget what the type of architecture that's called, but that's really neat. Wow, just wow. I think if you really want to get the sense of how flat and how the mountains just abruptly rise like that and where they get their name, the Grand Tetons, it makes sense when you see it all for yourself with your own eyes to scale. Like a small prairie dog right there. Or is that a chipmunk? Not the types we have, but there's quite a few little buggers here. They're probably used to being fed, if I had to guess. And they like to live. You gotta watch all the holes in the ground where they dig. But where do you guys go? What are you? Prairie dog? Are you a prairie dog? What are you? You can see the age on some of these things. I do see round head nails, so these are certainly from the 20th century. But like I said, I think the thing that I read said this is really from the period of 1908 through 1950. We're not looking at 1800s stuff, I don't think, today. On it, you got people in period dress over here. And this rather famous looking building. I love this style of architecture. I don't know the name of it, but you see barns like this throughout Utah. Absolutely fantastic. I read that some of this fencing I think is original from the period. Some of these corrals over here. Such a steep peak in the roof. And then always your attention is drawn back out to the main feature. I mean, if you were one of the early settlers of this area, other than the harsh winters where they pretty much close this place down, I think, yeah, you couldn't go wrong, I don't think. Even if you labored and worked, I would have to think every once in a while you could take a look up and see that, or maybe make the quick journey to one of the mountain glacial lakes and take a nice refreshing plunge in the summer months. Running all through here is what looks like a ditch. I read that the Mormon pioneers that lived here dug ditches to bring water in to irrigate. And that's the same technique we have seen from the Mormons at other settlements we've explored. Grafton, Utah is a good example where there was a nearby river. Was it the Virgin River? And then they dug ditches out to irrigate the land. And assuming that's what this is, that engineering is still holding up over about 100 years later. Wow. Just wow. You know, to see these types of structures, which you guys know I'm obsessed with, in this kind of setting, to me is kind of the ultimate, I must say. You know, the quiet out here is exquisite, and I'm actually walking through grass. Green grass. Grass that could probably be mowed. Looks like a chicken coop over here, overtaken by all of these creatures. Some old barrels and stuff. You smell the old wood. That old wood smell. I wonder what that old wood smell consists of chemically, because it always smells the same. But unfortunately, being that this is a national park, highly protected, you can't go in any of these buildings that I know about anyway. This old home, and even the windows are boarded up, so there's really not much you can do to peek inside. But I think once again that's okay, because your attention should really be out this a ways. I noticed this main barn door, it has a bungee cord behind it, so you can't open it all the way, but you can open it somewhat, and you can poke your camera in there. So we can take a look into this old haunted barn. I'm just calling it haunted because it looks haunted. Looks like a haunted house. It's really hard for me to see the camera viewfinder to see what it's picking up from this strange angle, and the sun's reflecting on me. But I think you guys are getting a look here inside this really old barn. Chances are it's over 100 years old, this thing. Wow, look at those beams up there. Looks like a cathedral almost, doesn't it? There's actually a nest, an eagle or something up there maybe. Anyway, that is pretty wild, pretty wild. And here's the other barn. I don't think anybody's taking photos. So this is the famous, I want to say it's the Moulton barn, from the same era of what we've been looking at, but this is definitely the more photogenic of all the barns here. I recognize this angle with the largest peak out there in the background. So this is about where you want to get that famous shot. But I would say this is la pièce de résistance of the Mormon Row from all of my studies. And you can see why. It's just that really beautiful architecture. I love the pointed parts of the barn, how steep the roof is and how it kind of levels off like that. And once again, with the mountains in the background, come on. While I have a minute or two, I'm gonna sneak around the back of this thing and we'll get a closer look at her. I apologize if I mispronounced the name of the barn. I think it was the Moulton barn was the name of the person, but I'm going off of a tired memory from last night. You could see there's been some restoration, it looks like to me, but for the most part, it's the real deal. I didn't get dates on anything. You can definitely see it's settled in a little bit. It's not exactly completely straight, perfectly upright, but boy, once again, these things were really built to last. You know, it's just one of those things that inside my heart of hearts, I just want to transport myself back to those times and live in a place like this. And it's only mainly because I'm here on a beautiful early July day. Couldn't ask for better weather. Everything's green and lush. And I'm just torn, enjoying the show, taking my time. I'm so enjoying the farm life that I almost forgot behind me are these majestic Teton Mountains. Come on. Little cabins and other things all around here. This Mormon Row is much more extensive than I gave it credit for. I could just stand here all day and look at grass. No lie. Yeah, this area I vastly underestimated, especially from a photographer or videographer's perspective, how much time one should allow. I feel like I even rushed it. And I'm telling you, I've been here close to 2 hours just for these 2 little sections. So usually that tells me we're either in for a very long video or I don't know what. All right, we are now departing Mormon Row. That was fantastic, and I underestimated, like I said a couple times, how long I was able to spend time here and how much I was enraptured with the views. Even more than yesterday, I would say. Something about the buildings and the shots that makes it for me. This is that section where there's some beautiful wildflowers. Trying to capture some of those for you. It's really not a good place to pull over here, otherwise that'd be a nice little picture moment. The mountains in the background. So this is US Highway 191, if you're keeping score and you want to know. A very busy thoroughfare through the Tetons here. This is also how you can get to Yellowstone National Park, so I wonder if a lot of this traffic I see are people coming and going from there too. Because, you know, I would say I was expecting a lot of crowds. I was expecting it to be bad being around 4th of July. 4th of July is on a Tuesday, so I figured, people will take more vacation time this week. So we'll see how it goes. There are people here, but it's not as bad. Not even nearly as bad as I was worried. I thought there'd be traffic jams and not be able to find parking for anything. And some of you are laughing, saying, ha ha ha, just wait. Like this next location we're going to. Schwabacher's Landing. Oh wait, you know, there's something else of interest here I do want to show you. Here in this spot. This is not Schwabacher's quite yet. We're less than a mile away. But I think this is an overlook so we could see one of the glaciers that still exists today up on the mountain. Alright, looks like the overlook for the glacier is over here. I think I see the glacier. I want to say it's... Well, let me confirm before I lie to you. This actually would be a first, though. I've never seen a glacier with my own eyes. Another Cactus Atlas first and a Glen first. Alright, I already see I was correct in what I thought was the glacier is the glacier. The sign circles it, so let me help you spot it here, and we'll zoom in. If you see the tallest peak right there, you look down there, that white right about there, that is a glacier. And what's, you know, responsible for these really sharp, jagged peaks, the glacial lakes that appear at the bottom of these abrupt mountains. And that's pretty cool. So I was wrong. There are actually 3 glaciers, including the one that I pointed out to you. There's another one that looks like an upside down triangle on Grand Teton, which is the big peak there. And that's called TP. It's almost like an upside down TP. And then over to the left, like in this area there, should be the 3rd glacier. The sign mentions that 50 years ago, that's not long, I'm almost that old, there would have been 25% more glacial ice out there. So over the last 50 years, 25% of that is now gone, and gone due to warmer temperatures that we experience in these modern times. Another thing to note is we're on the other side of the Snake River from the Teton Mountains, and I bet you that stripe of pine trees is approximately where the Snake River runs through. We should be getting some looks at that, at some overlooks, before we get up to Coulter Bay Campground. But anyway, this stop is way more impressive than I thought it would be. And I think it's also awesome because as Grand Teton National Park is a first, so are glaciers. All right, almost forgot about the glacier, or glaciers. It's very well worth the stop. So this whole road we're doing, 191, like I said, there's another turn on to get inside of Grand Teton, which takes you to Jenny Lake, which is probably one of the most popular spots. I saw, based on the parking, how popular that is. String Lake, Lee Lake, all of the fun water stuff is deep in there, and we're kind of on the other side of the Snake River, where you get a better look, I think, at the mountains popping out of this plain. So a lot of the iconic photography and stuff you often see in Teton, I think, is taken off of stops off of this road. Not that it's not spectacular up close either. I can tell you I did some scouting yesterday. Mwah. All right, we got about a half mile to go before we turn left down to Schwabachers Landing Road. And I'm nervous. Just
in a quarter mile, turn left onto Schwabachers Landing Road.
Anticipating people and crowds and parking is one of the things in life that just really stresses me out. Probably more than the average person. I'm always worried about that. Leading up to the trip, on the trip, and I almost never have problems, but I did get a taste yesterday of what Teton crowds can actually be like at Jenny Lake. So when you see that, it puts the fear in you. We're winding down now towards the Snake River, what I presume is the Snake River. Like I was saying up there, all those pine trees, that would make sense to me, why we would be heading down this ways. Kind of a narrow little road, but we've done worse. Oh, and if you're wondering where Slim is, gave him a break. This was a long journey and he's been working hard for us, so we took his girlfriend this time. So, not planning on doing any off-roading here. Everything's paved up this ways that we want to go see. Although, we are off-roading right now. Look at that. But I'm pretty sure this is suitable for anybody. Even a unicyclist could do this. All right, the grand reveal. I see a lot of cars. I don't feel like we're gonna not be able to find a spot, or else people would probably be parked up and down this road. I am sure of it. So it looks like there's plenty of parking. And it looks like a lot of people, but like I've been saying all day long, it's so spread out usually that it's a delight. Doesn't faze me at all. Usually I hate crowds, I hate people. That's why I go to the places I go, and I usually avoid places like this, especially on a holiday weekend. But anywho, we are here at Schwabachers. Let's find a good spot. I assume this sign is an indication that the Snake River is indeed down below here. We're not going to be getting seaworthy on this particular adventure, but there's a rumor that may be happening on this trip. But anyway, we want to head down this way. I even see the water. Hopefully we'll get some cool reflections. And look at that random cloud that just came out of nowhere. I already see little reflections in the water of the mountains. So imagine this though at sunrise. This is really what this place is known for. Water's pretty still though. You are getting some really pretty reflections here in the water. I don't know the optimal spot. This spot's pretty darn good though. There's actually lots more to go see, even further with more what I presume are reflecting pools here on Schwabacher Landing. I could see why this is such a popular spot. You get the trees in the foreground, you get that Bob Ross kind of vibes going on here. I mean, spectacular. But you got to give me at least that one thing. This is total Bob Ross vibes. Like every painting he's ever made was like inspired, I think, by the Tetons. Those reflections. Makes me want to just paint. Oh, I so regret not starting earlier this morning like I was going to do. I am not disappointed, mind you. I'm very pleased with the results, but if we had a little bit of Pink Mountain sunrise out there, that would have been just the ticket, I think. How are you ducks doing? Do people feed you? I am not going to feed you, but sometimes animals are a little bit friendlier than they should be, but these do not appear to be. That one's got a blue bill, like kind of a bluish gray bill, the one on the right. I don't know what kind of ducks they are. I am ignorant. So just like Moore Monroe, I'd say Schwabacher Landing presents the same issue of I could keep going and going. I'm really enjoying this. I'm enjoying this more, actually, I think, than the historic part of our presentation, which, for me to say that, you know it's got to be good. And just look how crystal clear this water is, as are all the glacial lakes we're going to explore here. So pretty. I think that spot over there is a really good spot, really busy. There's a break in the trees, but you could see the water, the wind here is starting to blow a little bit here in the afternoon, which is normal. It's creating a lot of ripples on the water, and that's not the best for reflections. But I feel like we did this well. I feel like Schwabacher, we can check off our list. All right, Schwabachers, you were pretty awesome. I get it now, I get it. Must stop. But you don't have to spend a half day here either. It's really not that much. I don't even know how far you can walk. There was a fence kind of blocking another trail, making me think you're not supposed to go past where we went. And I feel satisfied. It's a nice stop. Amazing photos, but I can totally see how this is a early morning place. And it's now 12:50 p.m. right in the middle of the day. The long days of summer. All right, we are continuing on 191 North, aka 89, I think. And we're heading to the Snake River Overlook, which I think might have some other really fantastic reflective properties, if it's what I think it is. And I don't know if we've seen the Snake River itself. I don't know if Schwabacher was on the Snake River. When I think of the Snake River, I think of rapids and river rafting and stuff. So maybe that was just a slow section or just some kind of creek. But I do want to take you guys to see this actual Snake River and get some pictures of that. Chances are we were looking at it. Well, here's another quick stop called Grand Teton Point Lookout. Probably a good vantage point of Grand Teton, the giant pointy peak. And, you know, with as beautiful as it is right now, I don't want to squander any opportunities to see some nice things here. So let's get a couple quick photos. Why not? Another nice little overlook, and this one's not as popular as some of the other stops.
Toward US 191
yeah,
north,
yeah,
US
yeah, I know, I messed up.
In 500 feet, turn left
Shut up.
onto US 191 north.
And here's Grand Teton Point Overlook. The pullout. I could see why this is pullout worthy. We're almost standing straight on into Grand Teton now. Looking at the glaciers I pointed out to you from earlier. They're not as easy to pick out from this vantage point though, because we're at a different angle. If you see the reflections of the cars down that way, that should be Schwabacher's Landing. And then we walked kind of like down maybe to about there-ish. I think that's as far as you really are supposed to go. And that's where we were getting some of those beautiful reflections. And now we're up higher as we climbed out of that area, a little valley there, and the wind is starting to really pick up. But anyway, look at that. And the people in front of me had the right idea. They had picnicked right there. It's like you're in the Alps or something like that, is how this makes me feel. Not that I've ever been to the Alps. I've just seen pictures, but you know, it's a kind of pointy, jagged, glacier-made mountains that just seem to beckon of that. I want to start singing the Sound of Music or something now. You will not be seeing that on this episode. Now the next stop is supposed to be the Snake River Overlook, as it's known. Let's take a look here. We got a break in the traffic in the road here to get out of here easily. Nice. So yeah, I wanted to catch a look at, as we head north on 191, at the Snake River. Something that we verified to truly be the Snake River. I'm pretty sure it was down at Schwalbacher's. Schwalbacher's sounds like a jelly to me. Schwalbacher's grape jelly. What do we got here? This looks like it might be something. Let's see. There's nobody behind me, so this would be Snake River Overlook. This is exactly what I was looking for. Seems like a nice little spot. There's a few people here, but not as busy as Schwalbacher, but not too far off. I really don't know. I think we're just gonna go look at the Snake River and nod our heads and say yeah. All right, it looks like here we can kind of check out a map. It's kind of washed out with the sun, but you see like different terraces that the river is carved out over time. You can actually notice them here. You do see how it's kind of terraced off. Very pretty. And the modern Snake River is indeed in here somewhere. Now we're gonna go get a better look at it, and I'm still confused if Schwalbacher's Landing was on the Snake River, a calm section, or an offside creek type of thing. You know, you have lots of splits in the creek and stuff like that, so that's what I was wondering, but I don't see Schwalbacher's on here. Anyway, beautiful view, eh? Man. I mean, it's blowing my mind, and especially because it's completely novel, brand new. Never have seen this with my own eyes before. Only photos. And photos never seem to capture the real scales of what you're seeing, the distances, the heights. It's one of those things that you just kind of have to make your way out here if you want to do it right. Yes, sir, that's pretty. With the pine trees in the foreground, I'll take it. You can actually see the mighty Snake River below if you look careful through the trees. It's quite far down there. You can actually hear it too. And there's another view of the mighty Snake River, very popular for river rafting. And I believe there's a bend right up this ways where they say that for more casual paddlers, like in kayaks and stuff, there's a section that's pretty tame. But once you get beyond that, you need experience to navigate these waters, they say. Look at this. This was a famous photo taken by Ansel Adams. Let's see if we can line this up. It's very overgrown since Ansel's time. I've read about that, but yeah, it's really cool to think Ansel Adams took a shot of that from approximately this location. All right, as we sit here and ponder the view that Ansel Adams had in 1942, I'm gonna depart ways with you. I just wanted to take you up Route 191 and show you some of the more popular sites here in Teton, where the mountains are the star. Hope you can make it here sometime, and we will see you next time.